What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today, and today I've got probably one of my first proper bike setup videos for you, which is really strange. I feel like I'm just learning my inner Reaper kit and giving a setup video for you guys. This is on the Honda 450, and after Parlour round 1 for Aerial, I've been doing a little bit of soul searching. You know, I didn't have a great time on the Yamaha and the EU side of things, and I switched to the KX for the NA side of things, and it went better. But then after watching the real life racing and watching Jet absolutely dominate the competition, I was feeling like a little bit of red, so I hopped on, and then straight out of the box, the bike actually felt really solid. You know, the suspension felt good. So what I've done is I've gone back, I've taken Skills' base suspension from pre-update and slapped that on, and I've made some geometry changes to it, and what I've kind of ended up with here is something that feels just really solid, but most importantly for me at least, feels really comfortable and consistent. I don't think by any means it's going to drop everyone's lap times by 5 seconds or so. That's not realistic at all. What it will do, however, in my opinion, is get you flowing around the track a lot more. I find it gives you a lot more grip, and it gives you a lot more trust over braking bumps. I've never had a bike in this game feel so good over braking bumps, ever. And that's not even capping, that's not for YouTube views, it feels so good. And oddly enough, if you try and ride it, just put yourself in Jet's shoes for a second and try and stay light on your feet, like just blipping, jumping through braking bumps, etc., and rolling on the throttle really smoothly. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to slowly go through some stuff on screen right now for you to kind of walk you through what the changes are from stock. So on the first page, I've changed the fuel to 5 litres, which I always do. Just it's fine to hit you through quick races. I'll bump that up to 8 litres for actual MXGPs and aerial races. Tyres, I always run mid-soft 80, mid-soft 120. That only changes to sand if I'm on sand tracks. Tyre pressure, drop it down to 14.5 for both. Front leverage is 20 just to make you brake a bit better, and the tyre pressure I just changed because that's what Skills has. You know, got to follow the best in the game. There's a hell of a lot of differences from default suspension to this, so feel free to pause it or take screenshots, wherever it may be, and go through it all. I'm not a setup guru by any means, but whatever this is right here, it works, so just go with that. Drivetrain, I made it a little bit shorter gearing than default. I just feel like it's super long gearing anyway, so bring it down a little bit, it makes it feel a bit more like the other bikes. And then this is my geometry that I've changed. The fork height at 15 might seem high, but it just helps the bike turn a lot better than it usually does. And I'm usually an 8 swing arm length kind of guy, but changing it to 6 also makes me feel like it gets around the corners a lot better than it usually does too. And I don't want to just throw this setup at you and then just hope that you guys believe me by any means. I'm now going to try and get a full online lobby and hopefully prove to you how consistent and fast at the same time it can be. So as always, with the power of editing, I will see you on the start gate. And with my YouTube powers that be, I have managed to get my server completely populated with 40 people in the space of about 15 minutes. So we're going to see how this goes. I actually don't really care about winning in this race, for oddly enough, with someone with such an ego as myself. But what I want to do is hopefully ride really consistently and just show off what the setup is capable of, because I firmly believe that I've done some of my most consistent riding on this bike. So we're going to disregard any first turn pile-ups or any crashes with a bunch of people, and hopefully that my riding myself is good. And the only one downside that I can find so far, that I need to try and combat this, is how to get out of the gate, because the Honda is so damn powerful at the bottom end, it's unreal, and I almost always do a backflip. Right, let's see how this goes then. There's going to be a hell of a lot of clutch spamming here, I reckon. Which there was indeed. Not the most ideal, and again, people somehow not going in a straight line up the start straight. The guy on my left decided to hook a right, but like I said, we'll get going again. And I'm not really going to pay much attention to how many people I'm trying to dodge here. What I want to do is, when we finally get into some clear air, is just show what this bike is capable of doing. And I'm not sure how much detail I went into in the intro and in showing it off, but I feel like if you channel your inner Chase or your inner Jet as well, you ride the bike really well. It's quite strange. I just feel like you float across a lot of the braking bumps if you bob the bike around, which suits my personal riding style in this game. It works really well too. And I've never, like, genuinely, hand on heart, not even for the sake of YouTube views at this point, I've never had a setup that handles the rough stuff as well as this does. Let's get up this hill. God, that hill was so stressful on a 450. This is one of the only times I envy you 250 boys, is for the wonky physics in this game. That hill, absolute nightmare to say the least. Let's get up and over this bad boy. There we go. And we've got quite a few fast people in here as well. We've got people like Yerp, we've got Aiden in here. I know Jackson's in here as well, who absolutely loves this track. He was insane at the in the aerial races. Definitely lapping a few seconds faster than me. But one thing that I want to say with this setup, and it can definitely probably do a few tweaks here and there. This is raw baseline. This is essentially version maybe like 1.1, because I've changed it ever so slightly. But I definitely think with a few more tweaks here and there, you can definitely get it to be probably pretty damn perfect. So, I mean, I want to say thank you to Mr. Skills as well for having the majority of this base all done for me. And oddly enough, it was pre-update, so even with a few suspension tune-ins from one OEM update to the other, it still holds in pretty damn strong. And I just slapped some geometry changes in there that I personally quite like, and we're good to go for the most part. And I'm glad that I've let this server run for a little bit as well before we started this race, because one thing that's very adamant right now, especially with the outdoor season, is you need a setup that can not only get you fast qualifying laps, you also need one that is able to handle all of the rough stuff when you're super deep into a moto. So I've got the road set to 0.2 around here at Parlour, and I'll go and get over that double brake. Oh, that was close. I think that's the fastest way through there. Let's go inside and then hit a little triple at the end. Got the road on 0.2. I had it set to, I mean, it's set to an hour of practice, but we didn't run that much. Can I still be eating the quad in the road? Yeah, yeet. Yes, lovely. So it's just as capable as the Yamaha is, I'm telling you. And I think maybe with some more tweaks, you might even be able to turn it into a bit of a hot lap machine. Personally, I prefer it right now for just consistency and smoothness. I am only human, and I'm sure you guys will feel the same as well. If you put this on, you're not going to turn into the next skills overnight. Like, that takes many, many, many hours on this game. Oh, rest in peace, Junior. Same as me. I haven't just like suddenly become a god at the game now I've put the setup on, but I feel comfortable, and that's just what I want at the moment whilst we're doing outdoors. Is I just want to feel comfortable on the bike and not feel like I'm having to just fight it around the entire track, which oddly enough on my Yamaha setup that I was using is the case. I just never truly felt like I was fully in control. And I've taken this setup around Lommel as well, so two completely different tracks. This track has a lot more of the small choppy bumps. Lommel has long flowy ones, and it also works really, really well. The main standout part of the bike for me is the rear end. I've just never had anything that tracks quite as well as this bike does, so very, very happy man. Unfortunately, I am going to have to now go and ask Mr. 327, who makes my FXR bikes, if he wouldn't mind making me a set of graphics on this bad boy. I do feel bad because before the season started, I said, "Oh no, it's fine. I'll be on the Yamaha, nothing else." And then after one race, first I switched to the Cowie, which I done okay on, to be fair, but it does give me some front end issues every now and then. And then straight away after that, I went in to do some more testing, and now I'm really enjoying the Honda. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see me on a completely different bike in another couple of weeks' time. Maybe I have one bad race on the Honda, I'm like, right, something else needs changing again, and then it's all over the place. But the main reason that I started trying to really use this bike and work on it was just after Jet's dominant performance at round one. Like, it was absolutely insane. That man put on an absolute clinic. I didn't want to risk trying to hit the quad there behind Aiden. I didn't know if he was going for it or not. I think this is the lead, possibly, that we're going for here. I mean, we've got Aiden who's rapid in front of us. We've got Jay who's very, very fast behind us. The scary part is Jay behind me is on a 250 and he's still barking the course. I wouldn't put it past Jay to be a real heavy favourite for the 250 title this year. Finn didn't have the best round one ever in EU, and then I think Cam's rage quit the 250 class and he's going over to the 450s. So yeah, Jay, he could be one of the guys. He's always had that raw speed, but he's never had that much consistency. So if he gets that all worked out and sorted, he's going to definitely be on fire. I'm so glad that I don't do the 250 races anymore. They seem so much more intense than the 450 ones, especially in NA. EU's not as bad, but NA is an absolute sweat fest, especially for these first few rounds of the season. Just tiptoe our way through there. A little bit of a front end tuck there, but I'm not even going to blame that on the bike. I definitely went in at too sharp of an angle in that corner, so it's to be expected. You're never going to get a setup that doesn't have anything wrong with it, full stop. There is always a way of crashing on this game, and you best believe Boso will find it for you. I'm not in the lead. Is this... I think the lead is just up around the corner. He's 2 seconds ahead. It's Ben. There's a few Bens going around on this game at the moment that I've seen. One of them is he's really been working his way up through I want to say through the rankings, as if there are any rankings. Right there. I don't know if that's the same Ben that I've been seeing doing GPs and stuff recently, but he's been steadily improving. So we've just come from a pretty bad start, if we're being honest. It wasn't ideal, to now up into P1 in the space of two and a half-ish laps. So you've got a very deep rut there. It tracks through it really nicely, doesn't slide out onto the straight after it, and other than struggling to get out of the gate a little bit because it wheelies so much, which I'm sure I'll find a decent start technique for it eventually. I always do. I find some sort of weird and wonderful way of getting out there. Other than that, I think the only other thing that I'm not... I say I'm not the biggest fan of, I can control it for the most part, but some of you guys might find it a little bit difficult until you get your head around it, is its tendency to want to loop out because it is so powerful. I'm not sure, like, behind all the scenes what the geometry of this bike is saying, but it's why I've kind of got quite a long swing arm on it. Let's get up and over this, but it does feel very nimble, which is odd for a bike to feel so nimble but so smooth at the same time. But big fan, really enjoying it. And what's nice is not seeing the colour blue in front of me again, because it gets boring. I guess not just from your guys' POV, but from mine as well. I'm running the same colours all the time. Over this to, I think next lap round might be the last lap. Mr. EA here throwing a taunt in my face. That's not very nice. How can you taunt me if you're getting lapped? Oh, the irony. I know he probably thinks he's on camera right now, which he actually is. Oh, there's another taunt. Please don't crash and watch your bike into me, sir. What I don't like is how he's being lapped and still sitting in front of me for 2 jumps to be able to lap me. Oh, that could have gone horrific. I just had visions of being a bike magnet again. Let's throw her sideways over this. Scrub here as well. And one thing that I want to emphasise is it's not just this 450 bike that is also a competitor to the Yamaha right now. I showed that in qualifying for the NA race at Parliament, the Cowie can do it as well. I qualified in P3 and I was only 0.007 seconds off of P2, and then P1 was skilled, so he was like 3 seconds faster than everyone else, so he doesn't count, as I keep saying. So there's some very competitive bikes in this class. It wouldn't surprise me to see one other of the top guys show up on something random. I'm not going on the inside rut there in case that lapper gets a little bit sketchy. Oh god, hold on, dear. I was having so much grief through that section on race day. The amount of times I'd swap on qualifying laps, I was getting so frustrated. It's just a massive skill issue. But I love what the OEM team, especially Jesse, who is the main guy behind all of these bikes' workings. I'm very happy with what they've done. There's been a lot of effort behind the scenes that not a lot of people see, and I think the feedback for the most part has been very positive since this latest patch. I've seen some people that have been really unhappy and having like completely opposite feedback to everyone else. I see a lot of people saying that the front ends on the bikes are a lot better than they used to be, but I've just seen 1 or 2 people saying the opposite. And I'm just wondering how much testing has gone into those opinions, because I'm guilty sometimes of, if I want to try something out, I'll hop on it for half a lap or a lap and then think, oh, this is awful, and in reality it was just me. So do give things a chance. I mean, if you're good enough, to be honest, you can ride anything well. Finn is a perfect example of that. In the 250 class, he top qualified on a TM in NA, and he won one of the EU races by like 40 seconds on the RM. So I fully expect to see some RMs and TMs showing up in the 250 class at round 2 at Hangtown. It wouldn't surprise me if now I've made this video about the Honda being pretty decent. There's no need for that. Oh, I hate people like this with a passion. Oh, he will be getting blacklisted from the server moving forwards. It seems like both of the Divine guys are being twats in this server. That's just MX bikes, that's what it is, but people have given themselves a bad reputation. That'll do it from me. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video showing another bike that could potentially be the new meta and is very competitive. Please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'd greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.